You were in a movie with Katt Williams called Ganked.
Yeah.
What was it like working with Katt?
Katt Williams is amazing, bro. He's a good dude. I remember we saw a lot of comedians coming up. You know what I mean? Like I said, we were in '94. Seen a lot of people come up. And so I remember Dave Chappelle in the Windbreaker at the Improv right outside. You know what I mean? And we would just always be able to go in. You know what I mean? And he took pictures with my sister and everything like that. And working with Katt, man, as well, was just an awesome process. And he was fun. I was happy that he did it because the reason why I wrote that, I got to a place where in the business, Marlon Wayans had told me, he said, being of the Wayans family, he was just like, you create the characters you want. Because within an audition process, going through auditions and, you know what I mean, and doing shows, he was like, you don't wait on an audition, you create it. And so I started to do that and created a lot of different independent things, like on DVD. DVD was popping back then. And we did Ganked, and we had him be a part of that, which was awesome, and Katt was great. Yeah.
How do you select roles now?
How do I select roles now?
Yeah.
Really, I pray about it. You know what I mean? That's really what it is, you know? I'm a writer, too, so I write characters that I want to play. And then also, too, if there's a role or audition that I have, I pray about it first to see if it's the right thing to go about.
Right.
Yeah.
So, is there a role that you turned down that you wish you hadn't?
There was roles that I was offered that I didn't take, around the time. Like, even back then, there was, roles that I didn't take because, my ex didn't want me to take it. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. But yeah, man, it's like, roles that I do that right now that, it's really for me, I always go, there was a point when I was like super, when I started being Christian, where I was just like, when I was like, okay, I'm going to live my life. It was certain roles I didn't want to take. But then it's all about, for me, with certain roles of what's the journey of the character.
Right.
What happens at the end of the character? Is there some type of resolution? And that's what I gravitate towards, the resolution of the character. Yeah.
You auditioned for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Keenan auditioned for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And I guess you guys auditioned for the same role.
Yeah.
Losing, you guys had played was in these sketch comedies and did these shows together.
Yeah.
Did that strain your relationship to lose that audition to him?
No, I think that I explained it, what really happened. You know what I mean? There was this divide of me, you all don't understand what I'm dealing with through the process of all the things I'm dealing with.
Right.
Or even with these producers and the writer, you know what I mean? What's going on? And for them, it just looked like, Kel is just, doing his own thing. He's frustrated, and he doesn't know it. And that wasn't what it was. Right. I had my own personal things that I was dealing with. When we got on Saturday Night Live now, you're talking about this is years, and we hadn't spoken in a while.
Right.
And it was a lot.
So had you guys not spoken prior to Saturday Night Live?
Not at all. Yeah, we hadn't spoken.
Yeah,
we hadn't spoken. And so that's the thing about it. It's like there was this, when I talk about the isolation and when I talk about work, see, when people watch us on television, they're thinking like, oh, this is brothers. You know what I mean? They hang out all the time, but this is a job. You know what I mean? So when it ended, we are adults. You know what I mean? So I always explain it like this. There's 3 generations of all that. Like we were 94 to 2000. Then it came back around 2005 to 2010, and we weren't on that process of that show. And then we brought it back in 2019, right? And that went for only like 2 seasons.
Right.
And so you got to kind of look at like us being adults and navigating our own things throughout life. And we hadn't talked in a long time. And when Saturday Night Live came along, I was going through probably the worst time of my life. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about from 97, 98, to now it's 2004. You know what I mean? Like when he gets on the show around that time. And we go to audition. I didn't even know Keenan was going to be there. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of, D-Ray was there, JB Smooth, a lot of different other, actors. And I think I talk about this like, people look at us like New Edition. You grew up with us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's this love there. And so they felt like it was like this fight. But it wasn't. It was just a thing of, oh, you here too? Okay, let's audition. And for me, it was like, I need this. I got to get this job. I got kids at home. I want to get this job. Make sure this happens. I'm thinking in that process. And I remember when I got on stage, I did original characters. I had already been doing my DVD stuff, so I remember I auditioned with Michael Jackson if he was allergic to trees. And so I did a whole thing where he was sneezing, and that's how he came up with all that. So I did that on stage, but it was very physical. You know what I mean? And I remember that. And I was drinking at the time, too, when I did it. So I remember I got on stage, I was just going. And then what was already happening in my life at that point already, with all the things that was going on. And, you know, I didn't get the audition, which was fine, though, because there's so many other comedians that didn't, you know, on Saturday Night Live. And I don't look at it as like I was upset at my boy. And that wasn't what it was. What really was going on was what was happening behind the scenes. You know, what was going on where we just didn't talk, you know.
How did it feel to finally be reunited?
With Kenan?
Yeah.
What, years later, as far as like with Good Burger? Which is funny. It was, I want to say, I was on Game Shakers. It was a show on Nickelodeon that I went back on. And now here's the process of this. The same writer, you know, this was his show. Right. Now he was doing a new show. Prior to this, I was invited to Kids' Choice Awards to give him an award, and with all the other actors. And knowing the past of us button heads, right? And knowing, too, the conversations that he had with other people as far as, like, forget Kel, I don't want to work with Kel, this type of thing, the type of person he is, right? Right. And I remember thinking, now I'm the man of, like, a man of faith around this time. And I'm just, like, in the process of things that I've went through, I was like, forgiveness is a serious thing. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I'm going to forgive. And also, too, I want the other producers to know, like, this is not a thing. I don't hold any grudges. I'm not holding any grudges. So they were surprised. I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So I went on stage and I did that. That ended up being where now all the producers were like, yo, Kel, he's cool with Nickelodeon. He's cool with us. Right. So then they were just like, okay, cool. And then they had me audition to be on Game Shakers, the show. Right. Part of me was like, well, you know, y'all know what I can do, this type of thing. But I was like, I'm going to audition and do my thing. And so I auditioned, been on the show, and got on that show. When I got on that show, he actually was the one who said, hey, yo, you and Kenan, y'all should, you know, reach out. And he gave me Kenan's number. Right. You know what I mean? And we actually reached out to one another. And me and Kenan had I want to say a 1 hour conversation of us just talking on the phone. And me telling a little bit about my life of what I had went through, and him sharing too, but not all the way sharing, but him just like shocked by what was really going on behind the scenes and all that I had dealt with and what was going on. And that was good for us to have that conversation as adults, have that hour conversation and talk to one another. Then right after that, we did Fallon, where we got together to do the Good Burger. Right. Yeah, together. And within that process, though, which was really deep, I told him, I said, yo, look, I'm not getting back in contact with you because of that. You know what I mean? I could care less. If we don't do this, it's whatever. I know us as brothers and what we've been through and the experiences that we experienced. We need to talk to one another. Because the thing, and we found out within that conversation that we both had people talking within our ear while we were going through the process. Because the people telling me things about Kenan, you know, people telling things about me to him.
Telling him things about you.
Yeah, during that process with the producers and writers and trying to break that up and keep us apart. And we told ourselves we wouldn't allow that to happen again. And we really did that. You know, now every day we're speaking to one another as far as brothers and just checking on each other. Right.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party because you know we like to do something before 2 something.